Hey guys, Julian here, I'm back, and today I'm going to be talking to you about how to make powerful, grooving, modern electro and ghetto tech. As usual, you can get the full project files, samples, MIDI, presets, everything from this video, as well as all of my videos. It's available at the top of the description on my website. This really helps support me, but it's also something to support yourself. You can grab some samples, these ones especially, today, and it will help you take your tracks to the next level. Right now, as soon as you download that, you will be, I promise you, several steps further. You can also grab my custom tutorials if you want a private lesson from me, and my Ghost Productions link is at the top of the description for that as well. I also do track finishing, so I've got a bunch of great services to help you guys take your music to the next level and really help you out. Check that stuff out, and let's dive into the video. Alright, so we're at 134 BPM. And the first thing I want to talk about with this, beyond just like sound design or any of the sounds, is really just how simple these tracks are, you know? When you listen to these tracks, you realize like it's not usually a whole lot more than like drums and bass, but it's just those things are very well made. So you can see starting here, we have the drums at the top. So these are like classic drum machine sounds, but just really like beefed up for the modern thing. Like we have the kick, which is really not even much processing. It's just, you can see it's turned up. If you look at the volume here, it's the loudest thing in the whole pile here, right? And the other thing that really makes a big difference here is it's just a really solid kick. Like this is like a Lindrum kick or a 707. You know, one of those style of drum machines. And I've definitely heard a lot of samples from those drum machines, or that were supposedly recorded from those drum machines, that weren't really that good. This is just like a really solid Lin, to where like it can just shine on its own. You're not trying to do all this over processing. We've got a hi-hat. Same deal, just good 808 hi-hat. Don't need a whole lot of processing. The snares. So just two snares that do very different things that come together to make that. And then we just have the club. Just a little bit of background percussion. And really also what this highlights is like, again, when you have this really simple track, the drums are also very simple, but by having like, they're very separated. Like there's nothing that's really like doing the same thing, right? There's also this analog, which I'll talk about in a moment. Right, like the clav is just very high. The hi-hat is very high in a different way. The snare is right in the mid-range. Like nothing's really clashing. And that's really the key to these simple tracks. Just a few elements that aren't going to clash. So then we have this analog. So this is a bit of noise percussion. And the way we're doing this is, it's analog. You can see we have a sine wave with a pitch envelope, as well as some noise. We've got a bandpass filter. And the bandpass filter has an LFO on it, so it's getting moved around, but it's also got key tracking. And where this comes into play is with this random over here. This is like a random note, right? So now, basically, as you know, key tracking is the lower the note you play, the more closed the filter is. The higher the note you play, the more open the filter is. With this, it's giving us these random high and low notes everywhere, every single time it plays. So now we have this like consistently moving percussion. So you have that plus the LFO. So it's these different movements going on at once. But yeah, it's kind of an interesting way to do that. And then we just have a high pass filter. And then we have the bass synth. So this is like I was saying, you know, this is really the main synth here, right? Everything you're hearing is literally just those very simple 6 layers of drums I showed you. And then this bass synth. But that's the point with this style, is it's not meant to be like so full. It's just a few things that really fill out the whole track. This bass synth does a lot. It has a lot going on. It's very interesting on its own, and that's the key. And even so, even being complex, it's very simple in notes. If you look at this, it's just E, F, and G. Like, very, very simple. Just across 2 different octaves. But what makes it interesting is the rhythm, where you're getting this like jumping across different octaves. So that's, again, it's not about creating a whole bunch of notes like across the scale. Pick a very few notes and try to make a complex pattern with a few notes. And then the other thing here is the call and response, right? Because we have right? We have the call and then the response. So again, that's the key to this. The first thing is pick 1 or 2 or 3 notes across a few different octaves. Make it short and simple in that regard, but complex with the actual pattern. And then just do a call and response. It becomes very simple when you think of it that way. But that's what will create a pattern that's simple, but still can be like exciting enough to fill the whole track. And then for the sound on this one, it's very simple. We have wavetable. We got the sub oscillator. I've got the tone all the way up though, so it's basically like a square wave. We have the sync digital. And also basic shapes. And then if you look in the matrix here, you can see we also have a low pass filter. And in the matrix we have an envelope too here. Just like a simple pluck on the position of oscillator 1, the pulse width of oscillator 2, so that pulse wave, and then the filter frequency. So like not really that complicated, honestly. And then we have a bit of key tracking on the filter as well, which works really well with a pattern like this where it's bouncing between different octaves. Again, it's all about taking what's already in the MIDI, and now because we have this where there's these 2 different octaves, if we key track the filter, that'll make it very dynamic. Even if you like wanted to put this up another octave. You know, that just makes this so expressive. So it's another way to have a very simple pattern, but complex with the synth, and it all comes to life. Other than that, we just have a bit of unison. This amp, which is just being blended in there, here's without it. You can see it's a bit flat, but it does have the solid low end, especially from that sub oscillator. But then if you add the amp, like with the dry wet all the way up, the texture is good, but if you send that like as a demo to somebody, they're gonna tell you, oh man, the bass needs to be more like full. So we're just blending that as a layer. And there we go. So that's how you make a nice, simple, but very powerful and full grooving electro track. So that's going to be it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. And let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get this full project file, samples, MIDI, presets, literally every single thing from this video that can take your tracks to the next level right now. Is available right at the top of the description. This is a great way to support me. I don't make a whole lot off of YouTube, but this is really about supporting you guys. It's about giving you something that's accessible, affordable, that can really take your tracks to that professional, high quality standard you've been trying to get to for forever now. So, link is at the top of the description. Do yourself a solid. Go grab that. You can also get a private custom tutorial lesson with me, as well as or a ghost production or track finishing. The link for that is at the top of the description as well. Go check out my music and my socials. Thank you so much for the support, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video.